you still can get fantastic results at home with just some simple, inexpensive stuff. Hey guys, I'm Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and today I want to talk about how you can get fantastic workouts at home and get the same results as with a gym membership. So the only things you really need are some dumbbells, some inexpensive resistance bands, and I highly recommend you get an adjustable bench like this. All right, these things last forever and they're not very expensive. Just look them up on Amazon. So I'm going to give you 3 tips today on how to basically get gym results from your home. And then I'm going to also give you my 5 favorite exercises that you can do at home that replicate almost exactly what you can do at the gym. Well, the first tip, guys, is how you structure your workouts. So you need to avoid doing the same basic workouts over and over and over again. You got to really change things up. Not just the exercises themselves, but actually how you do those exercises. Otherwise, your body gets used to doing the same thing. It's very smart, and then it stops progressing because you stop throwing curveballs at it, all right? So that's the first tip. And part of that tip, guys, is, I know this is self-promoting, but don't try to create your own workouts, all right? We got a ton of fantastic workouts here at Live Anabolic to choose from that Gary Walker and I have designed. And so, you know, they're inexpensive. And so why try to create the wheel all over again? All right, tip number 2 kind of ties back into tip number 1, where I say don't try to create your workouts. Just use one of the ones that Gary and I have created. And that is, you need to use a combination of compound exercises and isolation exercises when you're working out at home or at the gym, all right? Compound exercises are really good because they involve multiple muscle groups and multiple joints at the same time in the same exercise, all right? They also require a lot more intensity, all right? They drain your central nervous system more, and compound movements tend to tell your brain to ramp up its production of natural testosterone, all right? Isolation movements are really good because there's still some muscle groups you just can't really get very well doing a compound movement, all right? So your bicep would be a perfect example of that. And then tip number 3, guys, is you really have to focus on form and intensity and the mind-muscle connection, all right? Because when you're working out at home, a lot of times it's quiet. You don't have that energy that's going on at the gym, all right? The music in the background, whatever it is, just the people walking around. So you're working out maybe at your quiet little house, and that can kind of just be kind of a downer. So you're really gonna have to create your own energy, and you're gonna have to push yourself harder, okay? And when I say harder, you need to be doing each exercise and each set close to failure. You don't have to go to failure on every exercise, on every set, but you need to go within 1 or 2 reps of failure. It's called RIR, reps in reserve. And so those are the 3 tips. Now, I want to talk about my 5 favorite exercises that you can do at home. All right, of course, I picked these 5 exercises because they target 5 distinct muscle groups. And these are the 5 big muscle groups in our body that you need to work at least on a weekly basis. The first exercise is the best, probably all-around chest exercise, and you can do it at home just as easily as you can do it at the gym, and that is the incline dumbbell bench press. The only drawback, potentially, of doing it at home is you might not have heavy enough dumbbells to push yourself close to failure between the 8th and 12th rep. So we're looking, typically when it comes to building muscle, we're looking to get close to failure at rep number 8 through 12. And if you only have 30-pound dumbbells, you might be able to do 30-pound dumbbells for 40 reps, okay? And so that's way too light. So you need to buy heavier dumbbells, or you can kind of fool your body into making those dumbbells feel heavier than they really are just by dramatically slowing down the tempo on every rep. Second best exercise is an isolation movement, that is the dumbbell curls, all right? Fantastic, just like you do at the gym, absolutely no difference, and everybody's gonna have heavy enough dumbbells at home to be able to push yourself to failure when you're doing curls. All right, the third one, we're gonna be using our resistance bands, and that is tricep pushdowns. Now, even though resistance bands are only $20 on Amazon, they replicate what you would be doing at the gym with a cable machine. And those cable machines are typically $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, all right? And you can do it at home for 20 bucks. So tricep pushdowns are fantastic. You can use great form at home, and it's a really straightforward exercise, and you're gonna get a huge pump in your arms. The fourth exercise takes me back to the dumbbells, and that is lateral raises. Now we're gonna be doing these for our shoulders. This is my go-to shoulder movement when I'm at the gym. And just like curls, you can't use a whole lot of weight when you're doing this. So I guarantee you everybody's gonna have a heavy enough dumbbell so that you'll be close to or at failure in the 8 to 12 rep range. And it is a fantastic movement. Most guys, even guys with bad shoulders who can't push overhead, will be able to do lateral raises. Fantastic. You're gonna get not only a great pump, but you're really gonna feel the lactic acid building up when you do this exercise. And you can't forget legs, right? So, Bulgarian split squats. They are killer, all right? Also, the nice thing about them is a lot of guys are gonna be able to use just your own body weight, and you're gonna be able to get to failure at the 8th to 12th rep just with your body weight. Guys that are not carrying a lot of excess fat and who are getting in better shape and have been working out for months, you can use some dumbbells when you're doing these Bulgarian split squats, and you don't need heavy dumbbells because it's a fantastic exercise that hits your quads and your glutes, and to a lesser extent your hamstrings. It's a compound movement, and it is tough. All right, guys, so no excuses. Just because the gym is too far away from you or too expensive, all right, doesn't mean you can have an excuse and skip your workouts. You still can get fantastic results at home with just some simple, inexpensive stuff like I just showed you here. And I gave you my 5 favorite exercises, and they're basically identical to what you would be doing at the gym. But you can do them at home, and that means you have no excuse to give up. You got to stick with it and never give up.